We are back with our second episode of the Roundtable this week. Congratulations. If you're watching this, you are one of the cool ones. And that over there, nope, that guy over there, he's also one of the cool, that's the Joker. We're going to talk about that Joker in a minute. That guy over there, Templar 10, is also one of the cool ones. Templar, we're going to talk about that game right there. It is probably... It's one of my favorite games that has released in a very, very long time. And that game is, of course, Balatro. Or Balatro. I found out that the Italians call it Balatro, which, okay, cool. It actually, apparently it means like fool or something in Italian, which I get it.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I get it. So Balatro, if you have heard nothing about Balatro, let me introduce to you your new favorite addiction, because it's an addiction. It is an incurable addiction that you can now put on such things as, well, my Steam Deck for the last year has essentially just been a Balatro machine. And now, as of like 3 months ago, my iPhone has turned into a Balatro machine. It's on this computer right now that we're recording on. It is on the other computer over down there. It is on the other computer over there. I mean, it's everywhere. Templar wandered into the Balatro scene, about a week ago?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 4 or 5 days ago.
So
I know it's been out for a little while, but I had never...
Walk me through your kind of like your journey into this. Like just give me the kind of the backstory and like why all of a sudden we're here and why we're talking about this amazing piece of game.
Sure. I mean, well, I didn't know anything about it until we did our episode from last season on the Game Awards, and we talked about the games that were up for Game of the Year, and then Balatro was there, and I had never even heard of it at that point. Like, I guess I'd just been out of the loop. And so you talked about in that episode about how much you liked it and how much you were into it and like how great of a game it was. And that it was this like small indie game that was up for Game of the Year, and it didn't end up winning. But, you know, the fact that it was still in that conversation for being what it is as a game, at least on the surface, is, I think, saying something. So I don't know. I was just looking for something to play. I hadn't been playing much recently. Like, really, if I was doing any gaming, I've been doing more reading. And then when I've been doing gaming, it's mostly just been playing ARAMs or something in League and just kind of, you know, not a whole lot. So I was looking for something. I was like, I think it's, you know, fine, time to try it, time to check it out, downloaded it, got into it. And after, I would say, you know, just doing the tutorial and maybe after playing a run or two, I would have said like, it's fun. I get it. Like, or it's fun. I'm into it. I don't get why it maybe was up for Game of the Year and got so much positive attention. And then needless to say, I've been playing it, you know, almost exclusively since then, and I've been playing it a ton and keep wanting to go back and do new runs and like try different stuff and get different combos and whatever. So obviously there's a sort of addictive element to it that I didn't recognize right away that obviously is present in the game. So
yes.
Here we are. I've been playing it a lot and very much enjoying it.
If you don't know what Balatro is, you've been hiding under a rock for the last year. It is the deck building poker roguelike, which those words just seem like a mishmash of everything. It is not a deck builder in like Slay the Spire terms or like Magic the Gathering terms. It is not a roguelike in that you're not fighting against enemies. It is not even really poker, other than you have suits and cards and you do poker hands, but it's none of those things and all of those things rolled into one. You essentially have to get a certain amount of points per hand to increase past what's called an ante. The ante progressively gets harder and harder and harder. At the end of every 3 antes, you have to face a boss, which has a unique challenge or a unique characteristic to it. There are, you know, that's the basics of the game, except then you throw in jokers, and these jokers have additive or multiplicative or special abilities, or they give you certain cards, or they give you extra abilities that you can place on top of cards. You have tarot cards that are like buffs. You have extra card. I mean, it's a thing, and it seemed very overwhelming at first. But the way and we're the YouTube video you can kind of watch next to us as I'm talking about this. This is like just really like the very first couple of hands, and it's very good at drip feeding you in there, which is why I think Local Thunk, who designed it, which is one guy designed this, which is why I think it's so brilliant the way he does it, because you're designed to lose your first, just like any roguelike. Like, you're pretty much, you'll get to like hand 4 or round 4 or 5, maybe 6, maybe into like the second and third ante, and you'll lose and you'll go, oh, okay, I think I got that. And then you're right back in. Like, one click of the button, you're right back in. You can choose another deck if you want. Boom, you're back in. And that's where the fun begins, because then you go, okay, I kind of got the basics here. And then immediately in that next round that you play, or that next like game that you play, some more jokers open up and some unlocks happen. And there's almost like a lizard brain thing in you that sees the numbers going up higher, that sees and hears the chip sound, that hears all of the poker sounds, all happening at once. And it's like this Vegas thing that grips you by the cerebral cortex at the very back of your brain and says, oh, buddy, you are never leaving. And here we are. And one of the, I actually watched the making of Balatro. It was actually this dude, he programmed it in a very, very arcane programming language. And some of the earliest things, this was just like a grad project for him. And somebody in our Twitch chat says it sounds like worse Marvel Snap. I can boot him, right? Like, I'm allowed to boot people?
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
From the server, yeah.
Yeah, I would probably boot him from probably my life too. The very core of this, like, he built this thing and it was based on probability and all that, and then he just started layering on top of it, and this has been this guy's life's work, and now it has sold something like 5 million copies and just continues to sell at like $10 a pop. So you do the math. Like, I've bought it 3 times. I will gladly buy it again on another console and give this guy another 10 or 15 bucks, whatever it is. I don't know. Templar, you also have kind of seen the progression system kind of unlock in front of you. What are your kind of pros and cons about, like, what are the things you don't like about this game? Let's start there.
Things I don't like about it, there's not that many. I mean, I would say for what it's doing, it really executes it quite well. I guess my biggest frustration I get is that I feel like I'm unlocking things, after each run, depending on the achievements you get. Like, maybe you have a run and you don't play a certain type of hand, or you play a certain type of hand so many times, or you have so many hearts in your deck, whatever. There's a bunch of different challenges you can do. You unlock new jokers, you unlock different cards you can use. I don't feel like I see them that much. Like, the stuff I'm unlocking, I don't feel like I see as much as I would like sometimes. So, like, in terms of criticisms, it's very satisfying to finish a run and then have like 3 or 4 things pop up of stuff that I unlocked, like just going back to the main menu or before I start a new run or whatever. It's very satisfying. I don't know if I always feel like I end up actually seeing it in the game, if you know what I mean. Like, sometimes I feel like I don't actually get those new ones, or maybe the odds of getting them are just a little bit lower if they're higher tier, and then so I don't feel like I'm seeing as much different stuff. But there's always different combos. It's very exciting when you find something that really stacks on top of itself and you get into some crazy numbers that get going. It's very satisfying for what is, like, on its surface a very simple game, a pretty simple interface, but it's amazing how much just seeing those numbers go up is like, you really just want that. I mean, I've played other roguelikes. I've played, Hades. I've played I'm blanking, but I've played a few other, Darkest Dungeon. I've played some stuff in this kind of
Dead
genre.
Cells.
Never played Dead Cells, but I've played a few things in this genre, and none of it really. Like, I enjoyed Hades. I thought it was a fun game, but I didn't have the kind of compulsion to go back and like do it again, or like that, like, real drive to like, I have to do another run. I want to try something different, or like, I got this Joker, but like, I didn't get this other one, and that might have actually helped this combo work. And then I could have okay, well, next time I'll try to look for these things, and then I'll do it. And like, there's a lot of that. And I also, so there's really very little that I don't really like about the game. I think most of it's very good. And one thing I also appreciate is you can pick things up where you left off. So it doesn't like lock you into having to finish the run right there.
Yes.
I usually almost always do, but like also the runs aren't that long. So like even if you get through ante 8 and like finish it, which is getting to ante 9, then you can switch into like an endless mode. Even if you finish your run, it usually doesn't take that long.
Right.
Which I appreciate. I appreciate that you can go through, you enjoy it, you build your deck, you have a good time, but it's not taking up like 40 minutes or something. Like
Right.
you can kind of get in, get out, have a good time with it, and then move on. I like that a lot because I'll just log in sometimes, just do one run, maybe two, and then just, get off and go do something else. Right. So.
You're right. That is good. I will also say so we're part of and you'll hear this spiel. Well, you don't need to hear the spiel at the end. We are part of a digital church over on Twitch called Lux Digital Church. And we are, yes, a digital church completely online. We meet on Twitch. This is also the YouTube channel that you're watching. We have a Discord, a very large Discord. It's what we call a pooper game. St. Bear is 100% correct. One of our valued members of our Discord. Everybody is a valued member of our Discord. It is better than Marvel Snap. It is a pooper game. It is one of those that your legs go to sleep. And you know what I mean if you've been there. You sat there too long. But it is... We have in our Discord kind of this thing that's called co-working, and Templar, it's just like people turn on their cameras and we just hang out and we work because a lot of us work from home, and Templar is in there. It's probably 2 days ago and he's playing Balatro, and I'm like, I felt like I was ostensibly coaching him, but I was probably just like the annoying dad from the sidelines, like, all right, son, now you got to make sure you kick the ball. And like, I was like, man, no, you got to play the pairs. You got to do the high card. You got like, this is the run. And he started leveling up just like a high card or a pair. And he would just drop one high card and it would go like 8,000 chips, 10,000 chips, 15,000 chips. And it's just like, man, there's this like visceral, guttural, just like feeling when you just drop one card and you beat everything in one. Oh, it feels so good. And I don't know, man. This is the reason people become addicted to slot machines, isn't it? Like, this is why people lose their life savings.
Yeah.
Great.
Probably. I've never been much for gambling, so I don't know if I see the appeal of it, but I guess I get it. If it had the sort of draw that this has, I could definitely see that being the case. Yeah. And I forget if it was, I assume it was you, but maybe it was someone else mentioning that the creator has like built in that the game can basically never be used for gambling. So
yes.
Like even after his death,
yes,
the systems of the game can never be taken and used for gambling purposes, which I think was good that he recognized that is something that there's a decent potential to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. He, Local Thunk is the guy, and he's not really known. Every interview I've ever seen with him, he does like the voice masking thing on his voice. I'm sure, I don't know if it's just like an act, like an insane, like a Slipknot type act where, you're not supposed to see their faces, or if it's genuinely like, hey, I created this thing and I know the monster that I could unleash here. But it's one of those things that he's very conscientious of what he has designed, something addictive, but also fun. And you're right. I think I'm making it sound like, oh man, I need Balatro. Like I'm jonesing for it. But the coolest thing is you can just set it down. You don't need to finish that run. Yeah. And I think that is like in Hades, for example, you get on a good run of Hades and you're 45 minutes into it and you still haven't even gotten to Hades yet, and you could put on a Steam Deck, you can like close it down, but like you pick it back up and 15 minutes later, 2 hours later, and you have your reflexes are gone, right? Like you are out of that zone and chances are you're going to die almost immediately. Whereas this, I can put it down and pick it up hours, days later, pick up the same, probably not days, but I can pick it up later and be right back where I was immediately. I can look at my jokers, I can look at my hand construction and go, okay, I was going for full houses or I was going for pairs in this one. I was buffing pairs this whole time. You can click on all of the things that are around. You can click on the cards and see what cards you're actually playing with. Okay, man, I was eliminating high cards or I was eliminating face cards and I was going only for sixes or whatever. And like, it's all there. And it's just like, okay, I'm back in immediately. That was a brilliant piece of game design, if I have to be honest. Any kind of last words on this before we wrap this up? I know this is like a very cursory review. I'd be down to do like some let's plays of this game, even though it's a year old. I feel like this game is still like it is crushing on Twitch right now. Just because nerds like me and you, I like watching people play this game as well. Like I like playing it, but I also like just watching it. I like just feeling enveloped by it. Any kind of last words? Any like Templar reviews this game?
Yeah, I would just say that if you're hesitant about trying it, you don't need to know anything about poker. You don't need to be into roguelikes or roguelites. You like none of that really matters. Like you'll pick up the hands. There's a lot of information there for you. I would say that the barriers to entry are extremely low to get into it. And it's a game that really does a good job of kind of bringing you along. There's a fairly short tutorial, but I think it conveys everything it needs to. And then everything else you just kind of pick up as you're going and you're in it. And it's very fun. It's a great time. Like we've been saying, it's easy to pick up, just play it, put it down, come back to it, whatever. And it's also something I think is kind of casual or something that's kind of chill in a way that like, it can be very exciting. You get on runs, whatever, but also you can just like throw something on. The music in the game is very good. It's super minimal, but the music is also like very good and very appropriate for what the game is. It feels like it fits perfectly. And just get into it, chill out. You can take your time playing it. You can play it as sort of fast or as slow as you want to. And just kind of hang out with it. So I think regardless of what you're looking for, I would say it's something that's worth trying out.
Absolutely. Everybody go buy 5 copies of Balatro so that local Thunk can stay in business, and he will appreciate it, and Templar and I will appreciate it. Thanks so much for sticking around here. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video as well. Again, click in the doodly-doos. We got a Discord down there if you want to come watch Templar play Balatro for an hour in co-working or longer in co-working. Come hang out at Lux. We love you. For Templar, gosh darn it, I'm looking at the wrong screen. For Templar over there, I'm Chino Mage. We love you. We'll see you next time. Bye.